The Zokya update is recorded in front of a live Twitch audience.
Welcome to the Zokya update, obviously the Christmas edition. Today is December 20th, 2021, and here's a little bit of what I've been working on. So over the past week, I kind of dug into Plinker and finally got the effects working the way that I like. So here we have kind of a pride effect. This is actually done with a particle system. You know, nothing really groundbreaking here. And thank you, yes, very much for the shake. There's one of the effects I've done, which is a pride effect. We can use that as a starting base for all sorts of different effects. So we could do a comet effect with that. We can certainly do a fire effect with that. The other sort of effect I worked on, this one we call the ferret effect. So this one is obviously another particle effect. It's done in a different way. And what's kind of neat about this one is I think ultimately I'll be able to hook this up to Twitch's emote system. So when somebody sends a particular emote, they could get the little emote emitting from their Plinker. We can also do little ants, other little fun things. So these are things I'm starting to think that when we have this initial pack that I want to release for when you sign up on the mailing list, that it'll have a couple, like maybe 5 different effects in it that you can switch between. I want to show you a little bit about what I've been working on in the back end. So we have these effects that take place here. You saw the ferret effect and you saw the pride effect. Well, we need a way to keep track of who has selected what effect. People will need a way to log in and choose those effects. Ultimately, they'll need a way to log in and possibly purchase currency, which they can purchase other effects, and all sorts of other things, get their stats. So I've been working primarily this week on getting the back end in place. So I've been doing some REST API services. I've been doing some database stuff in Firebase, and I could show you a little bit about a little bit of that right now. This right here is the back end for Stream Toys. This is it. You're actually looking at the database. It's a particular kind of database. I believe it's called NoSQL. I mean, there's a lot of different databases that fall under that. But Firebase is nice for my needs because it's pretty cheap. I don't need to know a lot about servers and database stuff. Actually, what's driving some of the stuff that's going on in Plinker, in particular right now, the host codes and the scoring. There's actually 2 backends responsible for taking care of the scoring. There's this, which is kind of more of like static data that you can request and get answers to. And then I have the WebSocket server, which handles stuff like the score, which is instantaneous. This is how it gets this information. So right here is an authentication handoff that's going to Twitch. So Twitch basically gives us a thumbs up or thumbs down if the credentials look okay. If it's your first time logging in, it asks for permission to do it. That whole thing I did last year. It was a major pain in the butt, and I just had to retouch. This allows you, of course, to add new levels, edit them, and save them. So when I hit save there, it actually is making a call. So you Stream Toys app spot right here, and so this is requesting that level, and then the response I get has the level that gets built out here. I needed to reconfigure this web portal that I have right now in a couple different ways. Ultimately, what I decided, because I had to add some more stuff to it, I want to add a section here where you're able to like change the customize the look of your Plinker, right? Actually select the effects that you're going to see when you go to Plink Live. I needed to there's a lot more stuff in the future that may need to be added here, again, like your stats. I entirely scrapped this front end. It actually still is live right now, but I started a new one. So this was all done in Angular. I'm continuing to do it in Angular, but I'm using another technology called Ionic and another technology called Capacitor. And what Ionic allows you to do in Capacitor is to compile your web app into an actual mobile app. So you can actually use it as a website, but you can also compile it out to be native mobile apps, which will be, I think will be a good option to have in the future if people want to be able to control this stuff through an app. So it'll be on Android and iOS. Here is the server that controls Stream Toys Web. So when you saw that call go to get the level information, this is where it's all controlled from. Now I warn you, this is not done very well because I don't know what I'm doing at all. I'm literally just pulling pieces together. But what's kind of neat about this is if you go to the index, you can actually see the calls set up here, and if they're a post or a get or whatever they are. So this is where I basically set up the lines of communication between the front end, the web front end, the back end, and the game. This is where all that magic happens, because the game is also going to be calling some of these services in order to get stuff. Like, think about it. Every time that a Plink gets called, like let's say you type Plink 20 in chat, just like BitGamey did right there. It gets picked up by the game. The game says, okay, we got 20 Plinks that we need to create. What happens is it checks to see if that person's already plinked in that game session. If they haven't plinked in that game session, it goes and retrieves their user icon and then stores it in a cache. And it stores all the rest of their information, like Twitch user ID, not really a lot, but like the ID is what you can actually, because people can change names on Twitch, so you need to be able to use the ID to get it back to them. Collects their name, oh, their preferred color. That's all the information it gets. So that's cached Tropical. When that happens, that is cached on the person's game. Boom, it gives me back this JSON. You can see that it's actually an array. That's what these brackets are here. And here's one item. And it says that there's available. We have a ferret. This is its reference to it in the database. And we have pride, and this is reference in the database. So this call could be used from the web application in order to say, okay, give me a list of the available effects there are. Obviously, there will be a lot more eventually. But right now what's happening is this browser is making a call to this local server, which could just as well be a public server, but right now I'm doing development locally. It's checking the database to see what effects are available there, and I can actually show you that part of it. So this is returning Plink effects. This is returning what we see in here. Ferret, pride, right? Ferret, pride, not done. But what I've been doing over the course of last week is taking the functions that were in the old app, the old web app, which is here, and creating a mobile-friendly, web-based front end that will ultimately be able to be compiled to user-specific devices. Front end looks the same. I got my little secret login so I don't have to go through the thing. Look at this, we got some tabs down here at the bottom. You can look at your levels. This isn't laid out quite the way that I want. So you see, this is a new website, and this is like in a mobile form factor. And you can go to responsive, and it will automatically, like when it's this big, like for regular web, you'll give you the menus over here. Obviously, things aren't looking exactly the way they should yet, but you know, this is a start. We're just getting the framework in place. And a lot of what I've been doing is taking the pieces that I built in the other web app and moving it over here, like the ability to edit the levels. I'm really close. I'm about 80% done and all that. You have your streamer dashboard just like before, so you can open up your leaderboard. In other news, I've actually decided on a name for the Zokya currency. I think you guys will like it. We were talking about before, should it be ant coin? Should it be, you know, what could we do with it? Drone dollars? So thinking about it, I think somebody had actually recommended something similar to this in chat last time, and we just twisted it a little bit. So I'm thinking zonks. Zonks. So you can have a coin. A coin is a single zonk. Right, so what's up next for Zokya? Well, I'm going to finish up getting the old features into this new app. Let me pop this over here. So I'm going to finish up getting these existing features that are in web to the new version, making sure that it all works, and then I'm going to deploy that version. I'm going to add a customized portal, so when you come into your home, you'll be able to see, you know, anything that pertains to you, perhaps what streams that you're involved in. That might be a little bit further out. We're going to add more effects. We're going to add the Zonks currency and get this all plugged into a mailing list. So what have I been playing this week? Well, the only thing I've had time for is a little bit of Deep Rock Galactic. Disaster Doe and I like to play it. And if you've not played Deep Rock Galactic, this is a very good game. It's a procedurally generated level. So every time you go there, it's different. It's a different experience anytime you play. You can play 4 players co-op, and you're essentially mining and fighting off bugs. Seems pretty simple, but they've got very addictive gameplay. The fact that you can play it again and again, have different levels, makes it a ton of fun. And this isn't meant to be an advertisement or anything like that. It's just a game that I really like to play. It's probably the game I have the most hours in over the past 2 years. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. I like to play as the driller a lot. And if anyone else is interested in playing this, jumping in with Disaster Doe and I, we'd enjoy that. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the Zokya update. Thanks for hanging in there, folks. Much love.
Oh, 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 ah, oh. Oh, 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 oh,